12 years, so a 12-hour wait was nothing to enthusiasts who've been flocking to snap up copies of StarCraft 2, sequel to the wildly popular StarCraft, which sold in its millions around the world. The real-time science fiction game took developers at Blizzard almost a decade to complete, at a cost of $100 million, but it's expected to make almost 3 times that amount this year alone. Our technology correspondent Benjamin Cohen is here to explain why it's so popular and why the excitement.
Well, StarCraft 1 was one of the biggest selling games of all time. It's not your typical shoot-'em-up game. It's actually a strategy game where, if you were to play it, John, you'd be controlling a lone group of humans inhabiting a universe which is more or less controlled by giant insects and telepathic aliens. But it's fiendishly difficult to complete. Certainly the first one was. And it was so popular that the University of California even offered a course in how to win it. Its owners, Blizzard Activision, hope that the sequel will be as wildly successful, and that's why tens of thousands of games fans queued up at silly o'clock in the morning all around the world to be the first to play it.
And how big is the industry that produces this stuff?
It's absolutely huge. It's actually bigger than Hollywood now. And it's not surprising to think why. If you think the cost of a game is about £35 to £40 to £50, you compare that to going to a cinema, not a lot. And there's additional revenue that comes from online services. So if you look at the numbers, back in 2008, the total global industry was worth $39 billion. By 2012, it had grown to $55 billion. And a report ranking the world's top 100 games developers show that nearly a quarter were based in the UK, and it brings in over £1.6 billion to the GDP. But when you do the numbers, you see that we might have 25% of the world's top games companies based here, but only about 6% of the revenue is going to British companies.
Surprise me, Ben. Who plays video games? I mean, teenagers or octogenarians?
Everyone now. I mean, this game is going to probably be for people slightly younger than you, but it's wildly popular. But I think one of the key issues is how can Britain catapult itself above the countries like the USA and Japan. And one of the reasons why Britain only controls 6% of the revenue is because other countries like Canada give incredibly good incentives to games developers to be based there. And there was real hope that the government would introduce tax credits for that.
Right.
They didn't. So games developers are not making so much money here.
Well, if they're younger than me, the people that play, they must be octogenarians. After the break,